Hello, good afternoon again. Thank you for coming, those who just came. Okay, so my name is Aaron. I will be the presenter for this webinar. The topics for this afternoon is about software architecture. So among all the profession of the architects, this software architect is one of the oldest profession. As you know that in the enterprise architecture, they have 5 specialization. Business architects, if it is quite new compared to the rest of the architecture domain. Then the second one, of course, is the software architects, which is quite established already in terms of the knowledge, the practitioners, and community. Then, of course, the infrastructure architects is also very, very established, as many professionals out there practicing infrastructure architects, like setting up data center, network, and also the server configuration. And of course, we have data architects that focusing a lot on the how to present and connect multiple data to turn that and process that to become a useful information for the business. And of course, solution architect, that is actually the previous webinar that I was sharing about the role of solution architect is to the architect that you assign into the project to ensure that the project comply and also align with what the architecture has been set by the enterprise architects. So let me just begin topic number 1 to introduce what is ISA and also ITABOK skill set. So I will do quite briefly this time around because I need to focus more on the content on the software architects. So ISA is the global enterprise architecture professional body founded back then 18 years ago in Austin, Texas. And of course, there are about 70,000 members globally. And also ISA developed the body of knowledge. They call it ITABOK. So ITABOK actually is the collection of the best practices for architects to be productive and relevant in the today context of the digital transformation. And of course, it's non-profit, run by architect volunteers, including myself. And of course, focusing a lot on the competency, on the skill set, rather than the profession. And there are 5 domains that are being addressed by ISA. As I mentioned earlier, business, software, infrastructure, information, as well as solution architects. So basically, ISA discovered that actually someone can be trained as an enterprise architect. So there must be a so-called curriculum, there must be a body of knowledge, and also they have a specialization. So the way that the ISA developed the body of knowledge is that through the worldwide community. So basically, it's from community, and then after that, the review also done through the community. Then after that, the skill set also validated by the community. So basically, the community of all the architect practitioners from all over the world. And of course, they got qualitative, quantitative, and after that, come out with all the curriculum. So the one that I'm going to share this afternoon is about the software architects. So basically, to give you a preview, what is actually being taught in the software architects. Although actually, among all the architect specialization, the software architect has the most content. In terms of the PowerPoint slide, I think it's about 500 to 600 PowerPoint slides. But I only pick up a couple of them, so it's about 40 of a slide. So to give you a flavor on what is being covered in the software architects specialization workshop. So of course, the body of knowledge, there are 5 pillars. They got the bottom pillars. The first one is business technology strategy. How can we align our business and technology together? And of course, human dynamic is a very, very important skill set for every, in fact, not only architect, for every professional, if you want to be successful in your career. Because you need to deal with the human, to communicate, to do presentation, to persuade people, and as well as to understand the political tension in the typical enterprise. Then of course we have quality attributes, whereby you also need to know about the, like maintainability, security, or the performance, reliability, and etc. The next one, of course, IT environment, like the governance, project management, IT services, support, and design skill. The last pillar is also very, very critical. This is where the architects show their work, their artifacts through the design. And of course, there are 5 specializations that just now I mentioned earlier. And of course, the role of architect, as you can see in the middle, they are very, very critical, because architect is the person that actually drive the entire transformation, because the person that or the team that are connecting the dot in the enterprise. Because typically our enterprise also is silo, divided by the department, by the division, by different group of people. But in the today digital era is that all the entities in the enterprise need to be connected so that we can drive at the top here you can see thought leadership transformation. Yeah, let me just on the laser pointer. So you can see the thought leadership transformation at the top, and then customer journey transformation, because now customer also change their behavior, especially this year after the COVID-19. Then also our employee transformation, because everyone now have to be mobile, work everywhere, anywhere, anytime. And of course, information transformation, that we need to access our data. And operating model, we also need to optimize our SOP. And also digital business. So basically our business now, mostly we need to move it to the online, to the digital, rather than the physical. Or maybe some of them need to be hybrid, both physical as well as digital. But looking at the current context of where we live in today, the digital business is something that a necessity, no longer the luxury. So if you can see here, the architects are needed to drive all these outcome and the component, how to connect the dot to drive the entire transformation in the enterprise. And this is a common mistake that many enterprises did in the recent years. So they come out a strategy and then they go straight into the transformation. As you can see, the arrow straight away to the transformation, meaning is that straight away doing a project, whereby actually they should have some sort of the architecture that they need to do to understand about what is the impact of the new strategy, what are so-called need to be changed, what need to be informed, and what thing need to be built. Then from there, you can pass on to the number 3, which is executing the digital transformation. So this is the right thing to do. But unfortunately today, there are not many organizations embarking into this. But I think for those of you who are here, then you can bring this message across to your enterprise. And of course, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to create a digitally connected enterprise, from the strategy to the business, to the information, to the application, and to the infrastructure. So that at the bottom part, we can do a smooth delivery in terms of running the project and also providing the support. So what we are trying to do actually here is that we need to understand the strategy, both from the business and the IT. Then from there, we are doing the architecture analysis and study to understand the impact in terms of the business, information, application, and the technology. Then all that will be passed on into the delivery team. So this is the preferred way for a successful digital transformation model. So let me move on into the topic number 2 about the key strategic role of enterprise architecture specialization. So of course, as you know, there are 5 domains of architects, but I just want to highlight that this presentation focusing on the software architects. And this is one thing that I just need to put emphasis. Every architect, if you are not a full-time business architect, if you are software architect, solution architect, information architect, or infrastructure architect, your secondary role must be also the business architects. So business architect is something that every architect need to master, because architect need to perform at least 2 or 3 specializations. So your second specialization, if you are not a full-time business architect, must be a business architect. So let me just focus on the software architect definition alone. So software architect is someone who create and refine software architecture and own the application components and connectivity. So the keyword here is connectivity, because as you know that our industry has gone through the last 30 years in terms of computerization. So there are many islands. So now our job is that we need to connect them and how to become a connected enterprise. And of course, another title that a software architect can also carry is application strategies, that design application pattern to support the business. This is the key, that whatever we do, we need to support the business itself. And of course, we can also do the application troubleshooter and understand what are the application silo that may impact the business process flow. So this is basically a summary of software architect role specialization. In terms of the learning path, so basically they got the path from the business architecture fundamental, architecture core, TOGAF, Archimate. The business technology strategy is the prerequisite before you can take a specialization of architects. And I think our focus here is in here software architecture specialization. So let me just begin my presentation. But before that, let me share with you a context where the software architects fit in the enterprise. So this is our enterprise today. If we map into the so-called layers, they got the business value and innovation. They got the capability that we need to drive. They got the knowledge, people, process, and technology. But you can see here, typically this one can be in another building or another location. So it's very, very hard for the organization to transform when we can't even visit their working area or their how they do business and etc. So what we need to do is that we need to come out the digital enterprise map, where we map all the motivation and strategy layers of every key stakeholders. And after that, we map it to the business. So we understand all the business impact in terms of the processes, functions, services, product, and etc. Then we understand the application layer. This is where the job of software architect to see which area of the business that can be so-called supported by the digital platform, by the application itself. Then we understand the technology layers. Then from there, we look at what are the information required to so-called enable the digital business. So our focus in the next half an hour will be on the application layer here. And of course, this is where we have the ongoing project that we have to do to sustain so-called the operation on the digital business. So let me go through with you on the software architecture fundamental. This is basically our challenges today. Size of software system increases because last time we only have say 100 users. Now it could be 10,000 or 100,000 or million of users because we are going to put it into the internet. Then of course systems are constructed from many components, and these components typically are already existing. So we need to connect them, we need to turn them into the microservices and how we orchestrate all the services together. And of course, we also have legacy overflow with spaghetti implementation. So this is something that has been built in the last 20-30 years. So how can we overcome these challenges? Of course, there are some diagrams, but most of them actually already outdated. And they have terminology and template and framework that, when we look at the today context, most of them are outdated. So we need to transform, we need to take it up, and we need to change this into today a digital way. So what is software architect? So software architect is a software intensive system that consists of the structure of the system. And of course, the key word here is externally visible properties of those elements and the relationship among them. So basically is that by default, the software architecture is supposed to be connected because they have a relationship. It's no longer standalone, in contrast to what we have seen in the past 20 years. Although today we are already entering digital era, but some applications are also still standalone. So this is the dilemma of so-called if you're performing the role of software architect in the typical enterprise. So typically in terms of the team collaboration, so software architect work with the various stakeholders, with of course project manager in terms of the advising component for the software development, engagement managers. Those are so-called typically like the project director that engaging the key stakeholders, and then the business analyst in terms of defining their requirement, then developer, tester, and also other architect role. Because as you can see here, software architect is not alone. They work with the solution architect, infrastructure, business information, and also overall they are part of the enterprise architecture team. Software architecture a phase. So people said, oh, I've done my software architecture. The answer of course is no. Architecture doesn't stop after the design because still have to continue. Architecture is the journey. An enterprise architect deliver technology strategy. So basically, you really need to position your application beyond just executing it as a project. And of course, enterprise architect remain active in the architecture through its life cycle because the life cycle it will never end. If you have studied TOGAF, the Open Group Architecture Framework, is like a rotating wheel. So basically, it's moving from phase A to B to C to D to E to F to G to H back to A. So it's a rotating journey. And of course, enterprise architect only realign to other prioritized project after the architecture is stable and measured. So typically, we will overseeing the entire implementation until the system goes live and stable. And these are some of the key concerns of software architects. We need to make sure that everything is componentized and also ability to do decomposition. And also we need to understand about all the cross-cutting concern because now we have to connect multiple module, multiple components that belong to the different key stakeholders. And of course, system integrity is very, very important. And we also need to track system evolution. because the version increasing from 1.0 when it first released to 1.1, 1.2, 2.0, and etc. And of course, we also need to concern on the maintainability, because we don't want to build something that are difficult to maintain, because we anticipate, we expect things to change. So we need to be able to have a system with the easy maintenance. And of course, the most important part is that whatever we build need to be aligned with the business. So who is the software architect? This is something that I want to emphasize. If you don't like people or prefer coding, you cannot become an architect. This is the reality of life. And of course, this is also many of technical people. They have issue talking with people. They would rather use the WhatsApp or the email rather than talking face to face with the people. So as a software architect, if you want to be successful software architect, you need to be able to engage with people rather than engaging with the machine or email and etc. Because we need to interact with the people. And of course, some of the potential to become a software architect, like software designer, domain expert, technologies, compliance expert, software engineering economist, technology strategy. And of course, this is very, very important, as I mentioned earlier, that if you want to be a successful software architect, your secondary role must be the business architects. This is the mandatory, so that whatever software application we design can deliver value to the business. So the value of a software architect, let me just read out this one about the so-called the point of view. A man once approached a well-known surgeon and said, "You make money in a day that I make in a year. I don't think it is fair. Is what you do so special?" The surgeon replied, "Surgery itself is not that complicated. I could probably teach you to do it in a few weeks. What takes the training and the skill is knowing when not to operate and what to do when something goes wrong. Learning those two things can take years." So this is something that are very, very insightful. I can give you another analogy of myself. Actually, a couple of years ago, I got a piping leak in my bathroom, and I'm trying to fix it for many attempts. In fact, I also bought, the tool set to get it fixed, but it's still leaking. Then until one day I gave up, I called the plumber to come to the house, and the plumber can just, fix it in the I don't know, maybe 10 seconds, and they said no more leaking. And then of course they charged quite a big sum, and actually just used his hand. This is exactly the same like this analogy, right? If for you to become a good software architect, you need to take a lot of practice. You need to take a lot of experience for you to deliver a real job of software architects. And that's why the architect still can demand the premium, because they can solve things that others cannot solve. And of course, software architect also can, people always use a parallel definition as a software designer. But architecture is concentrating on underlying style and pattern, whereby design rely on the creative elements. So actually, what we can see here is that design is part of the architecture, but you cannot equalize comparing the architect to the software designer. Design is the fundamental skill of the software architect, but normally, of course, has to be learned, and design is subject to some rigorous measure, like other architecture and dev. So basically, they got some sort of the guideline. If you want to do design for the business architecture, there be a guideline. If you want to do design on the software architecture, there be a guideline. Let me just continue explaining, because I have some of the example in the next few slides. Software architect also must be have a leadership character or traits, because what happens is that you need to influence your design. You need to basically get the buy-in and support from your implementation team, and your proposal need to be accepted by the business. And human dynamic skills are very, very important also, because what happens is that for a successful technical solution, you need to understand first whatever you do need to be aligned with the business. Then you need to understand the perspective. Perspective here is that you need to know different key stakeholders, what are their concerns, and you need to align with them as well. And you need to be able to communicate about your design, because what happens is that your design, your architecture is only valuable when someone listens to you and someone buy your idea. So we need to be able to communicate. Yeah, despite this is the stress point, the most important part, but some architects, of course, don't practice this. But I think we all know today that we need to practice this type of the human dynamic skills. And of course, some of the concern of software architects also include like how do we do installation, how do we do upgrade from version 1 to version 2, how do we monitor our application services and health. So we also need to adopt certain good tools out there, because today I think there are many good tools available out there, as well as performance monitoring. We also need to know data integrity, compliance, and regulatory concerns, because we need to pass the audit. We also need to do backup and restore, because we do not know what will happen when they got some attack. We need to be able to restore fast. And also we need to know about design pattern, how we can make a software easy to maintain, elegant, as well as very fast to adapt into the new changes that is coming from the business. So this is some of the mantra of the software architects. Systems that are not deployed don't matter. It is. So we can talk, argue, and debate, but if our system is not yet deployed, we don't know whether working or not. System that don't work don't matter. Basically, it's just whatever we do is back to square one. It doesn't work. And system that don't appease the user needs don't matter. So basically, is that whatever we build, if the user do not accept or doesn't meet the needs of the user, our work is also back to square one. And system that don't perform don't matter. So basically, if we write some system that are very slow and user get complaint, and basically is that we also back to square one. And system that are not healthy don't matter. Maybe not stable, easily crash, also don't matter. And system that cannot be measured don't matter. So we can't even know whether we are doing it right, and we don't even know what is the acceptable performance, also don't matter. And system that don't add business value don't matter. So basically is that business say that I'm using this system, or I use manual way, or the previous system is the same. So this is something that we need to take note as a software architects. So the next one is on the construction. So of course, in terms of the construction, I think requirement is the hardest way in terms of getting the right requirement. So I have delivered this so-called the solution on the business IT architecture fundamental, whereby in the earlier webinar, whereby I share with you about how do we capture the right requirement. So here, basically the highlight is that getting the right requirement is very, very important. And this is the fact. Different stakeholders may have different requirements, and they may express this in quite different ways. So we need to be able to understand this. And of course, stakeholders often do not really know what they want from the computer system, except in the most general terms. So we also need to understand the challenges, because we cannot say anything blame to them, because it's also our fault for not understanding or for not being able to capture the right requirement. And this is also quite true. Requirement may emerge from new stakeholders who were not originally consulted. So we may skip one stakeholder, suddenly this stakeholder came to the pictures halfway in our work or towards the end, and this stakeholder raised a concern. So we need to address this tactfully. And of course, traceability is also very, very important. We need to know that who originated this requirement and who approved the changes into the current so-called system. We need to track this, because otherwise, when thing goes wrong, everybody will do finger pointing. And as mentioned that why this one important traceability, because we need to know how the decision being made, how can we track the changes, how can we implicate part of software system after the requirement change, because we need to know so-called impact analysis. That's why the tool like the Archimate and the digital EA repository will help us to understand this. And we also need to know what are the slight change in the decision that could alter our architecture. And of course, how can we make our architecture more flexible moving forward. So in terms of the toolset, we definitely need the Archimate and UML, and also all the design patterns. And we also need to have digital EA repository that can connect from the Archimate, from the architecture building block to the solution building block in the UML or BPMN. Because in the today's world, we cannot do a manual anymore. We are not going to use the hammer and the nail to craft something. We need to use a digital automated tool to help us to do the job. So the topic number 5 is about software architecture lifecycle. So in terms of the lifecycle, the most important part is that we need to balance the teams. So we need to have a qualified staffing in terms of the skill set. That's why earlier mentioned that in my beginning of the presentation, we need to have someone get properly trained. Not only good in terms of the technical part, but also need to balance in terms of the human dynamic, understanding the business, and etc. Because at the end of the day, whatever we do in the software architecture need to deliver value to the business. And of course, we also need to map what we do with all the organization goals, and also software architect need to work with other enterprise architects. And of course, we also need to ensure that the governance framework is in place. And we also need to highlight all the risks, manage and mitigate the risk itself. Because every project comes with the risk. So software architect need to highlight all the issue upfront, so that when things goes wrong, we can immediately take the so-called precautions measurement. So the context of architecture within the enterprise. So this is typically the structure. Information architect will be cross three domain: the business, software, and technology. So typically the business will have a direct relationship with the software architecture. Software architecture have a direct relationship with the technology architecture, and all these need to be modeled properly. Then of course we need to have a digital EA, that we are so-called integrating all the domain of architecture. Then we also need to ensure that security compliant today, like the cybersecurity, and also all the services, digital services that currently need to be in place, also need to be integrated. Then we also need to align whatever we do with the digital transformation and the strategy roadmap that has been set. Then all these so-called business, software, technology, and the data will need to form into the solution architecture. Solution architecture is where the architecture ready for the development. Basically, this one we assign all the vendor name, technology, etc. Then from there, we can fit that into the PMO, the digital transformation execution team, to execute the project. So this is the very comprehensive structure, how the architect should work together with the PMO team, project management team, and also with all the transformation team to drive the continuous transformation. So basically what happened is that if you don't have enterprise architecture formality, you have the PMO running multiple projects, and here you have the so-called the ITSM to support your initiative in terms of the service level agreement and etc. But what we are trying to achieve here is that we need to establish the enterprise architecture office, and in here you got the business, data, software, infrastructure, and solution architecture team that work together to understand the gap, and then after that the gap you pass that into the project management office, PMO, to become a project. Then at the bottom you need to have a single source of truth on the digital EA repository in terms of the governance, catalog, matrices, bidding block, etc. Then the top one is where you need to connect the business technology steering committee to drive all the three pillars of a digital team that enable so-called digital technology team, from architecture office to project office to the support office. We also need to, in terms of the deployment, we also need to understand the testing, because we cannot release something that are having some bugs. So we need to minimize whatever we know about software testing to be done comprehensively. So the concept here, of course, they got all type of testing from the requirement. We can also use that to become the UAT, user acceptance testing. Then functional specification become system test plan. Then high level design become integration test plan, and then detail level design become unit test plan and the source code. So basically is that if any bugs you found at the lower level, it's cheaper to fix than you find at the UAT or you go live. Because when the system goes live, anything that having some bugs, not only very expensive to fix, but can cause our company, our organization, a reputation damage. So we need to ensure that we have a proper testing plan. So these are a complete testing methods. So from the static to the dynamic testing. Yeah, so static mean you have to review, walkthrough, or inspection. This one also now can be done by the tools. There are many tools out there. And dynamic testing also can be done by the tool. So pretty much all these are done using the automated testing tool that we can use, like all the white box, black box. Then there will be another one is the gray box between the white box and the black box testing. So basically all these need to be adopted by software architects team. The release is where you need to basically doing launching of your version. Could be 1.1, 1.2, and etc. So we need to make sure that our release include reduction in the known defects. So we need to know what are the bugs that normally all the software got release notes. Then you need to understand the code analysis to understand how the memory being utilized. Then you need to have a complete documentation, proper versioning, and you need to also comply with the legals and the license requirement. So let me just go through into the software architecture skill set requirement. So I will be focusing a lot on the body of knowledge, and I'm focusing here on the software architecture alone. So this is basically software architecture skill set. Just want to highlight with you, they got the rating from 0 to 5. 0 means you are not so sure, but you have heard it, right? So basically you know about this terminology, but you are not so sure, you put it 0. 1 means, well, I have read the description, I've understood how the intent of this method, and I can explain it, but I have limited exposure. That's called 1. 2 mean I have done it. So I have done quite a number of the implementation. I'm quite familiar with the so-called this method. I put myself as number 2. 3 means I can coach people. So I can tell people what to do. I can basically put the context into what I know. That's 3. 4 means you are quite master. You have already reached the mastery. You can you are become a so-called well-known in your team, that you have this highly specialized skill set. 5 means you are already well-known in the industry. So basically, you know, if any seminars, any conference about this topic, you are in that list in terms of the global players. That's number 5. So they go 0 to 5. So let me just give you the first so-called subset or the pillars. The first one is software architecture development methodology and processes. So basically, this one is you have participated in many phases of software development lifecycle. You have demonstrated understanding of common development cycle and their roles in these processes, including setup and management of development environment, and give the learners tools to participate fully in the delivery of the solution. Ability to provide comparison of key development methodologies and make recommendation on when to use and what methods. So this one, I mean, you are feel free to take a piece of paper and you can rate yourself. Where are you in terms of this? Take note the last part, the last sentence. Ability to provide comparison of key development methodology and recommendation. So if people ask you, why don't you use that so-called method A, why you choose B? You need to be able to answer. So this is where the skill requirement for the as listed here. So you can rate yourself from 0 to 5. Where are you? The second one is on software architecture tools. So basically, you have demonstrated use of variety of tools to create working solution and participate in the development process, including significant concept of architecture tools and how they integrate with software development lifecycle. So cite example and reusable pattern for successful tool usage. So basically, you can explain and you have exposure with the particular tool. And here you can rate yourself the numbers. Where are you? 0 to 5. And the third one is on the software engineering for architects. So basically is that you demonstrated understanding and use of advanced concept in software engineering with a focus on the architectural in working with developers and software engineers. So basically you have enough experience if you put yourself as number 3. So, so you can rate yourself from 0 to 5 here. And the next one, of course, service workflow and messaging. And you are looking at you have demonstrated an understanding of current and future shift in architecture. So you look at the SOA, microservices, messaging, workflow, and other systems that have become a major component of the architecture toolset. Then you can highlight common concepts and components of this solution with a focus on providing the student with the ability to effectively use this system for their organization, including reusable asset and patterns. So this is something that you can also rate yourself from 0 to 5. Then advanced quality attribute, basically you understand about how to adopt a particular attributes to make sure that the system or the software is robust. So this one also you're familiar with all the maintainability, with all the security, with all the performance and etc. So you need to rate yourself there. So the next one is on the advanced stakeholder management. So basically this one you have the ability to handle multiple stakeholders including both business and technical stakeholders. So you need to be able to speak business lingo, and you can think and about so-called technical, but you need to be able to read and write business. So you need to write yourself. You need to rate yourself between 0 to 5. Then you also need to understand all the patterns. They got many patterns because these are basically so-called the tool set that software architect need to master a lot in terms of the multiple pattern at the layers, pattern pipeline, peer-to-peer model, view controller, presentation abstraction control, implicit invocation, service-oriented architecture, dependency injection, three-tier, blackboard, and naked object. So all these are the terminology that you need to be familiar with. And of course, the ability to apply. The next one on the platform and framework, because what happens is that when you implement a particular software, you need to know what is the best platform. Yeah, and of course, all the technology here, like mobile technology, client technology, integration technology, remoting technology, workflow technology, all these need to be put in the right place and applied accordingly. So these are also the job of responsibility of software architect, and you need to put your level here in terms of your skill set. And the last skill set actually is about data information knowledge management, because you need to demonstrate the understanding of ability to describe the essential of data modeling, managing, mining, transforming, converting, and reporting. And also you need to create all the ontologies, taxonomy, vocabulary, glossaries, dictionary, semantic, and etc. So these are so-called the skill set required. So typically, we also do conduct a skill assessment so that we know what are your gaps and what are the so-called appropriate training that you should embark to after knowing your scope.